The following is an album review I've done over a year ago, now with updated commentary. Feel free to leave a comment, share this video as all my others on JoeLumb's album review playlist. Smash the like button, subscribe to my channel, and click on the notification bell for whenever a new video comes out. This re-uploaded album review is Destroyer, Kiss's fourth studio outing, and the first since the highly successful Kiss Alive album that was released 6 months prior. I first reviewed this one back on January 8th of 2024. After gaining moderate success from their first 3 albums, Kiss, Hotter Than Hell, and Dressed to Kill, Kiss would achieve commercial breakthrough success with Kiss Alive, the band's first live release to achieve gold status, and appeared on the Billboard 200 charts for 110 weeks after peaking at number 9. Bob Ezrin was hired on as producer. He had previously worked on Alice Cooper's Welcome to My Nightmare. His approach was a lot different than the previous producers Kiss worked with. First, he rejected most of the material on the record while reworking heavily on songs like Detroit Rock City and God of Thunder, while the song Mad Dog was pilfered for the lyrics to Sweet Pain and a riff for Flaming Youth. Other songs from the original demo were reworked for the next record, Rockin' All Over, and Gene Simmons' 1978 solo record. During the sessions, Ezrin resorted to numerous tactics designed to increase Kiss's quality of music that was recorded. Even though at the time none of them were trained musicians, he provided them with lessons in basic music theory, and to do so he acted like a drill sergeant and wore a whistle around his neck and referred to them as campers. Both Paul Stanley and Gene Simmons said on the experience on making the story was like musical boot camp, coming out a lot smarter for it. However, Peter Criss and Ace Frehley resented working with Ezrin and wanted nothing to do with him ever again. Looking at the track listings for the original release of Destroyer, Paul Stanley sang Detroit Rock City, clocking in at 5:17 with sound effects. King of the Nighttime World, also sung by Paul Stanley, clocks in at 3:19. God of Thunder, sung by Gene Simmons, clocks in at 4:13. Great Expectations, also sung by Gene Simmons, clocks in at 4:24. Paul Stanley sung Flaming Youth, clocking in at 2:59. Sweet Pain, written and sung by Gene Simmons, clocks in at 3:20. Shout It Out Loud with Gene and Paul doing co-lead vocals, clocks in at 2:49. Beth, which was co-written by Peter Criss along with Stan Pedridge and Bob Ezrin, with lead vocals from Peter Criss, clocking in at 2:45. Do You Love Me, with Paul Stanley on lead vocals, clocks in at 3:33. And the instrumental Rock and Roll Party, clocking in at 1:25. That appears a few seconds after the Do You Love Me as a hidden track for the original vinyl pressing. Destroyer came out on March 15th, 1976 on Casablanca Records. The album's artwork was done by fantasy artist Ken Kelly, who also provided the artwork for another Kiss album, Love Gun. The record first went gold on April 22nd, 1976, and then platinum on November 11th of that very same year, which was Kiss's first ever platinum record. It would go on to go double platinum and peak at number 11 on the Billboard 200. I gave Destroyer an 8 out of 10 rating, mainly due to the anthems like Detroit Rock City, Shout It Out Loud, God of Thunder. Most recently, in an interview on the Broken Record podcast, Paul Stanley stated that Destroyer is one of his favorite Kiss albums, alongside Rock and Roll Over, Kiss Alive, 2009 Sonic Boom, and Kiss's 1996 Unplugged release. I went so far as to rank Destroyer as my number 1 rock and metal album of 1976 when I did an album rankings video of that year. That concludes this updated album review. Once again, leave a comment, share this video, smash the like button, and subscribe to my channel. Also, feel free to check out my album review playlist. The link to that is in the description box.